uranium stocks keep going down, even though the overall market is partying after the election. Is that a sign that the uranium trade is over? No. This is one of those perfect buying opportunities that we have been waiting for, and I'll tell you why today. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days and weeks. So, I got a question from, and I apologize that I cannot even spell out the full name. I'm gonna say the short version, Abel. I hope that's okay with you. And it's a good question about the situation in uranium. He asks, after the FERC rejected the Amazon deal to build a data center right next to a nuclear power plant, how serious is it for uranium and nuke stocks in general? Okay, I love this question. First, I love it because Abel, as I apologize, gonna call you right now, is clearly informing himself what's going on in the nuclear sector. That alone puts him higher than 75% of all retail investors that blindly follow some recommendations or what's supposed to be hot in the market. Perfect. He's also questioning investment thesis. Perfect. This is exactly the type of people that we want here at Bull Markets Lifestyle that I love to work with. If you want to work with me, if you want to get information from me, if you want to hear my opinion, don't send me messages that say gold will go to 5,000 or where do I think will microcap stock XYZ be in 12 months? I don't know. Nobody does. But I want to hear a thesis. If you say gold is going to 5,000, that's fine. Why do you think that? That's the quality of engagement that we want here. So, I don't know how many of you were in the market in 2016, 17, 18 and were active in Bitcoin. I was active in the crypto market then. I was the first financial journalist that recommended to buy Bitcoin in Germany in, I think it was the end of 2017. So Bitcoin had just crossed $1,000 and I recommended it along. So I was in the trenches in the crypto market, and what we're seeing here in the uranium market kind of reminds me of what we saw back then in the crypto market. Because we always had these news coming out, there's like, oh, the government is gonna make Bitcoin illegal, they're gonna shut down all the crypto exchanges, and it would lead to sell-offs in Bitcoin and the cryptos. And then, guess what? Nothing really happened. And the prices kept going up. This is completely normal. These short-term bad news correction phases are happening all the time in growth sectors, especially in the beginning. So, is this a problem for uranium stocks and nuclear energies? Fundamentally, no, not really, because these setups were always only a bridge. The real story with big tech and nuclear energy are the SMR reactors, these smaller reactors. Now, they have not been built yet, but when they are coming, and they will come because the technology is there, that will be the game changer. Because then big tech is just going to start building those SMRs themselves. And they don't need to connect to already existing nuclear power plants. So what we're seeing right now, the Amazon deal, the Microsoft deal, those are kind of bridge deals, right? Where they try to bridge the time, make sure that they have the energy for the AI projects until the SMR technology is ready, and then it'll happen. So does this decision by the FERC change the overall thesis of the uranium sector? It does not. Now, short term, it's not great news. Sure, it's not, right? But the important point is, does it change it? And it doesn't. We are still having a massive, massive gap between supply and demand. We have the energy demand of AI that is there. And it can't be solved with a couple of windmills and a solar panel. Uranium, nuclear energy are the only solution for this. So this does not change anything. Now, what is happening, we always have to remember, especially with the uranium stocks, they're dominated by retail investors. Retail investors panic when they hear stories like this. Let's go into the charts. Look at the global uranium ETF real quick. And we can see it had a retrace to the uptrend that it broke. It's selling off now. That's classic. We got to anticipate that it's going to hit this support zone, and this is a really interesting support zone. And then we keep talking. Most of the US and Canadian uranium companies are selling off today, but interestingly enough, the Aussies are not. Look at Boss Energy. By the way, beautiful. I told you it would pull back to the support zone here. We have a nice basis trying to form here. We'll see if it holds. We also have this open gap right here that I'm eyeing. So we might not be out of the woods, but it is interesting. Look at this. It's Paladin Energy, the other big uranium company from Australia. They are up. The Americans are down. Now, Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, this is what it looks like, by the way, right now. Same thing, broke through the support zone, retested it, rejected it. We have to think that it'll go and test this lower, bigger support zone, which is a massive support zone, as you can see here. But you also see the overlap trend is intact. So this is a buying opportunity for me, clearly, because nothing has changed in the thesis. Yes, the retail investors are panicking. Remember, the retail investors, what do? They invest in the hot stories. They want to buy what's hot in the moment right now. They don't think strategic like we do. We see the overall facts in the uranium sector are getting more and more bullish. They're not even staying the same. That would be great already. They're getting more and more bullish. So if we see badly informed retail investors panicking and selling, then that's our buying opportunity. Their loss is our gain. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the prices and the charts of the American uranium miners, and I'm waiting for my levels. Now, I got to talk about one thing. I was eyeing the uranium sector today very closely because there was a chance that it would sell off significantly after the Trump victory. Because Trump, as we know, is a Putin supporter, and there is the risk that he might redo the ban of Russian uranium for the US. Now, that would definitely be a bearish factor. That does not change that the US needs to build out their own uranium. They cannot depend on Russian uranium. But this could happen, and if this happens, the retail investors panic. So that, what the consequences does that mean for me? I will also add more exposure to the Australian uranium miners, which I wanted to do anyway. I showed you Boss Energy and Paladin. There are some interesting companies in Australia as well. I will still have my heavy focus on the US, because this story hasn't changed, and it might not change at all under Trump. As a matter of fact, there's a good chance, we know how Trump is wired, that he says, I want to do the same for uranium, what we did in the oil market, where the US now is the biggest oil exporter in the world. Then that's even more bullish for uranium. But we need to keep that in the back of our minds. Overall, the uranium thesis, the bull thesis for nuclear energy, has not changed with the Amazon news. This is just short term. Again, the bigger story will be SMR reactors will come, and big tech then will simply build their own reactors, which also mean look at companies that build these SMR reactors or bring components and develop components for these reactors, because they're really going to benefit. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.